Do you want to tell them what happened?
Yeah, so the hole for our first one was a little bit off measurement, so I'm gonna remeasure after putting that post in the ground. So measure twice, dig once. I kind of forgot about it, honestly, and just dumped all the concrete in there. And I was like, oh crap, I need to make sure it's level. So
It would burn up.
yeah, it kept getting super hot.
It's literally my dream fence. It's really coming together.
Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make it count, honey. Come on now and take my hand.
Good morning, boys.
All right, it's a new day. We are out here ready to work on the fence. I got one hole dug so far. It's pretty much just the same process again. We're gonna tamp the dirt in the hole, put some gravel in it, and then we gotta start working on our post.
want to tell them what happened?
Yeah, so the hole for our first one is a little bit off measurements. It's a little oval shape instead of round shape. So yeah, learning experience on the first one. Hopefully that means the rest of them will go a little bit better. Whenever I first laid out the post, I marked measurements, but then I didn't remeasure after putting that post in the ground. So measure twice, dig once.
And then I think we decided we're going to build the cattle panels as we go.
Perfect right there.
Instead of putting all the posts in the ground at once.
Because we're kind of doing a weird fence and we're using metal on the inside, it's not quite as easy to cut it to size like you would with wood, you know, doing like a slotted fence or something like that. So I think we're gonna build the fence as we go. So we'll get our 2 posts in, put the metal in, screw the 2x4s together to actually attach the 2 fence posts to each other. And then after that fence panel is built, then we're gonna put concrete in the hole. So that way we can ensure it's nice and tight, it's nice and straight. I think in the long run, it'll make for a better built fence. I gotta change my shirt because it's freaking hot out here, but I just wanted to recap really quick. So this is basically the design we're going for. I think what they did is added trim on each side of the cattle panel to kind of hold it in place. We're gonna over-engineer it a little bit, and we're actually gonna take our 2x4 and router down the middle, and then we're gonna router the post and router the top 2x4, creating one big channel for the cattle panel to sit inside. And because we're doing it that way, that's also why we're doing it one panel at a time with the post and completing it. That way we can make sure everything is completely tight against the posts.
So he's gonna level everything out, and then I'm gonna mark the top of the 2x4. That way we know where to actually put the 2x4, as well as so we know where to router on the post.
Side arm have completely steady. We got our 2x4, our bottom 2x4 lined up and leveled out, and then we marked the position that it's gonna go in. Now I'm going to measure from that bottom mark up 50 inches because that's the length of our cattle panel. That way we know our distance to be able to router the channel for this post. Works pretty good so far. I guess we'll find out. So we have everything routed. We're gonna go ahead and take our brad nailer and we're gonna temporarily nail the 2x4 in place.
More.
Now that everything's set in place, we're gonna go ahead and screw it all together.
Here, you need to wear this. I know it's hot.
Yeah.
So there's a water. Thank you. Oh, look at you all protected and stuff.
I'm already dying.
I know, it's miserable. I'm sorry.
So we got our first section of fencing done. I'm really happy with the way that we decided to do it because building it before concreting it made sure it was completely straight. Typically, I have to like level it the entire time as I'm adding concrete, but I kind of forgot about it honestly and just dumped all the concrete in there. And I was like, oh crap, I need to make sure it's level. And I threw the level on there and it was perfect. So I'd say good way to do it that way. It was just a tiny bit more work. And if you remember from the picture I showed earlier, we do still have a little bit of woodworking to do up top. We'll add another 2x4 going across and then some vertical posts going across, and that'll fix our bowing on this 2x4 right here too.
But like Cody said, all of that is really detail work, and we're mostly just concerned about getting the bare bones of the fence up, and then we'll add all of the pretty details later. I was also thinking about maybe adding some cross beams to bring it a little bit more of a rustic feel. I've seen a couple of designs like that, so if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. But I did want to take a quick second to thank today's sponsor, and that is Bluetti. So Bluetti has powered a lot of our projects recently. We've been really trying to put it to the test and find something that it doesn't work for, but it literally works for everything. We first powered our planer with it up there, and now we've powered our concrete mixer, and it's pretty much going to follow us along the entire trail of our backyard, and we're going to be using it for this entire fence. It's super easy to transport with the cart that Cody built, and so it's been our go-to power station to supply power to all of our projects. So I'm sure that you've seen it in a lot of videos recently. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of specs. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of details. Like I said, we've worked with Bluetti a ton, so there are a bunch of videos where we go in depth and review the entire thing and what it's capable of. But if you're new to our channel and this is the first video that you're seeing with the Bluetti, it is a 5,000 watt inverter, and it has a 3,072 watt hour battery. So this thing holds a ton of power, and it's a great resource for our homestead. And it's also expandable, so you can add more 3,072 watt hour batteries and really increase your battery capacity depending on what you need. It's a great house backup battery. It's great for an uninterrupted power source, camping, building it into a tool cart. If you really just need extra power on your property, we live off grid, and so because we solely rely on solar, something like a power station is great for little projects here and there, so we're not pulling a ton on our house. One thing I'm excited for is my parents bring their camper whenever they come and stay with us, because we obviously have a tiny home, there's not a whole lot of room here, and we have dogs, and you know. So they bring their camper, and what's great is this has a spot for your camper, so my parents will be able to plug into this and not have to worry about having power the entire time that we're here, and I'm really grateful for that, because I want them to be as comfortable as they possibly can. We love our Bluetti, we swear by our Bluetti, and we're going to continue to use it and put it to the test, and if we find something that it doesn't work for, we will let you know. But so far, every project that we've done, it's been great for. So I will leave all of their information in the description, along with a discount code, I believe, so make sure you check that out, and yeah, let's keep building this fence. We went ahead and moved everything over, the canopy, all the equipment to this side of the yard. We're gonna try to work over here just because the sun is really beaming now. It's getting super hot. So just trying to stay cool and in the shade as much as possible. But I think we are all set up and ready to start working on our next fence post.
After completing our first fence panel, I was like, there's no way we're going to use this battery powered router to do all of this work. So
It would burn up.
yeah, it kept getting super hot and it just didn't work very well for hardwood. Luckily, Harbor Freight had a router table on clearance and I've been wanting one for a while, so we went and picked it up. It's only 80 bucks and it's a, I think, 1 3/4 horsepower router, so it should have plenty of power to be able to power through this hardwood. So I guess let's try it out. So since we're building our fence section by section, we're gonna go ahead and make our top and bottom pieces first, and then we'll get the post ready to go in the ground. So I was having a problem with the blade wanting to shove the wood over to the right, so I'm gonna use this, I don't even know what it's called, honestly. It's been like 15 years since I was in wood shop. I'm gonna use this thing to try and keep the wood in place. Bit wobbly at first, but I don't think it's terrible. Definitely better than doing it with the battery powered one. It also got a lot straighter and was a lot easier using the guide too, so I think we'll keep up with that. So since I have everything on this dialed into where I want it, I'm gonna go ahead and do probably 5 or 10 more. That way we can stay consistent before we have to change the settings on it to be able to mill the next piece. Minnows are spawning like crazy. You got a turtle too.
One thing I love about using the planer is you can see all of the grain within the wood and it just makes it look super, super smooth and pretty. So all the fence posts will look real nice.
Two more to go and then we'll start on concrete.
So everything has been pre-cut. We have about 3 sections of fencing pre-cut, so we're ready to start working on concrete and start getting everything formed together. However, these posts right here are a little too big for the table router, so instead he's getting his handheld router ready so that way he can make the inserts for the paneling to go in. Okay, you can do it so much better than me. No. Let me try again. Let me try again. How are you getting all that?
Because I'm just shoving it down.
Let me do it.
I could carry this over to the miter saw to cut it, but it's just the bottom half, so I'm just going to trim it with a circular saw.
Oh my gosh.
The log's just too big. Will you step on it?
There you go. I love it, babe. It is literally my dream fence. It's really coming together.
Good, I'm glad you like it.
It's gonna look so good with like maybe some cross beams and then all of the little posts.
Yeah. I know, I'm excited to see it finished.
Me too.
The longer I've waited, the more that I've tried. All the years that I've wasted trying to find it. All that I go through for my peace of mind. Let it all go. the window. No smoke in my eyes. I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been you in the back of my mind. Early blue morning, when everything's cold.
Cody is still working, but I came inside to make dinner. I'm gonna be making one of his favorite meals, especially since he's working so hard, and that is spaghetti. And I'm making a big batch of this sauce, that way I can pop it in the freezer and the next time we want spaghetti, we already have sauce ready. So I have a pound of beef and a pound of Italian sausage, all browned up, and then I'm gonna add a can of chopped olives, and then a can of mushrooms. That's Cody's request. I'm gonna do 1 thing of spaghetti sauce, and then I have this Rayo's roasted garlic that we had for something else, and so I'm gonna pop this because it needs to be eaten as well. And then one thing I like to do with all of my sauces, a little bit of chicken broth and give it a good shake, because then everything comes off the sides and nothing's wasted.
I dance all alone there. Try to be seen.
See, nothing's on the side and then nothing is wasted.
You know what I need. I let it all go out the window. Smoke in my
I understand this is not everybody's cup of tea, but we very much work with what we have around here, and olives and mushrooms is what sounded good, so that's what we're having.
always been you in the back of my I can hear the wind chiming. It's always been
Side salads are done, and you're probably thinking like, oh my gosh, that is the tiniest side salad. Mine's loaded with tomatoes, but Cody and I have this thing where we'll eat all of our side salad and then not have any room left over for spaghetti, so I try to make them as small as possible. Please do yours.
Okay.
Love you.
Baby, don't you understand that we only get one life? I wanna make